Okay, guys. So today we'll discuss about SFDC audit, some business automation process like workflow, approval process. So let's just first discuss about what is SFDC audit. So do you guys are aware like what is audit? First of all, we are using this New York as we were completed the rebar space in our first on in which we have created the complete project we were discussing. So right now, what I will do is I will create some custom object and custom field. So let's just create a custom object here. You know how to create that.
Is it fine now, Harshit?
Yes, sir. It's okay.
Okay. So let's just create a custom object. You know how to create a custom object. We have already discussed about it. So you can simply type object here, and from the object section, you can simply go to here. So let's say a new custom object. I am just giving label as an invoice, right? Invoice and plural label. You know what you need to give here, and that's it, right? And just hit save. Here you have a new checkbox called like if you want to uh, launch a tab creation wizard simultaneously with the object creation, so you can simply check this checkbox, and the screen will take you on the tab creation wizard without just uh, going by steps. So you can simply hit save. So here you can see we are in a new tab creation screen. So you can simply create a tab from here. So the object invoice is already selected. So I'm just selecting a style sheet for it. You can select anything you want. Next, then it will ask for the profile permission. You are already aware what does it mean. So I'm just selecting default on for all profile and adding it to in every application in every app, right? And just hitting save. So now that invoice tab is creating, it is in the sales app as well. So now we just want to create some more field. So let's say just I'm just creating a new field called amount, the invoice amount. Custom field and relationship section, you can simply hit new. And here I'm just selecting a field called currency, the data type called currency, and hit next. And field label, I just want to give as an amount. I'm just giving 16 to, I just want to have some decimal places, and I'm not making it required, just leaving it like this. And next. Here I just want to give the field label security for all the profiles, so making it visible for all profile and hitting next, right? So are you guys aware about what does it mean, the read only checkbox? If you will check this checkbox, then you won't be able to put input, all these profile won't be able to input the value, they can only read the value. That is why I just want all the profile to be able to put the value in that field. So I'm just leaving this as an blank, leaving this as an unchecked, and you can simply hit next. Now it is asking for the page layout. As you are aware, there is a default page layout created at the time of object creation. So if you want to add this particular field on that default page layout, you can leave it as checked. And now I'm just hitting save. That's it. So we have created a custom object, and we have created a custom field so that we can continue what we are going to discuss right now. So let's just discuss about the SFDC audit. So in this topic, first we will discuss about login history. So guys who all are just joined, just maintain your time thing, right?
Hi, Pratik.
Hey
So
Sneha, just join timely so that you won't be able to know, otherwise you won't be able to get on the topics. So guys, just we were just discussing about the SFDC audit. So let's just first discuss about the login history. So login history will give you the information about who all are logged in earlier in your system, from which browser, uh, and the time and the date, each and everything will will be stored in the login history. So you can simply type login history here. In the manage user section, you will get that login history option. And if you will click on login history, then it will give you a report kind of stuff, in which you will get that as we have only 2 users and I am only logged in this thing, right? In this particular dev org. So you will see all the information related to me only. But you can see here, right, this I have logged in this org, this information it is giving. And the second one is we just in the last class we were logged in using data loader. So you can see the application was data loader bulk UI SOAP partner, because that was the integration between data loader and the SFDC. So we were logged in as an API type is equal to SOAP, right? So you can see here all the information. If there is any failed attempt or any invalid password request or anything, you will get all information here in the login history, which each and every login detail, all logins, right? CSV file. So you can get here, you can create your own view based on some kind of filters if you want to add. And like all HTTP login or all TLS 1.1, TLS 1.1 will discuss in our integration part. So just leave it like this right now. So you can simply check like all logins here. If you want to download this login history, you can download this as well. So this will give you information about your login kind of data, right? So this is it for login history. The second one is the field track history, right? So let's say I have this invoice object, right? Let me just create one invoice. I'm just giving name as INV1, and I'm just giving amount as let's say 5,000, and just want to hit save. So we have created this 5,000, but we don't have any kind of like if you want to track like if who is editing this particular amount and how many time it was edited, right? And all the information related to this amount field uh, in a detailed manner, then we need to make field history tracking enabled for this particular field. How you can do that, right? So first of all, you need to, you know, go back to the account creation page. Let me just go to view field so that you can go to account creation page, and here you can hit, you need to hit edit. Here there is a checkbox called track field history, right? So you need to check this track field history checkbox, then only you will be able to, you know, track field history, track any field history, right? So just tick this checkbox. Other checkbox, I will tell you what all are the other checkbox means here. So right now I'm just you know, making this checkbox a track field history, and just hitting save. So after checking that checkbox, you will get a button called set history tracking. So here you can simply set the history tracking for your invoice field. So you can simply click on this button. As you can see, we have only 3 fields, so you can simply track the history. So we just want to track the history of amount field. So I have just checked the amount field here and just hit save, right? Here we have created a history tracking for amount field, and now you can go back here, refresh it. As we don't have that you know, history related list here in this invoice page layout, that's why I'm not able to see. So first of all, you need to add a related list called history. So you need to go to page layout again, edit layout, and here you just need to go to related list. You can simply check a related list here called invoice history. So every object will have that kind of a history related list. You can simply drag and drop this related list and you can hit save. So let's say right now if I want to just you know, edit this and make it to 10,000 and just if I want to hit save, then you can see there is a log created in this particular thing, and the log is saying that changed amount, Pratik Sharma, the user, date, time, each and everything, and the action was change amount from 5,000 to 10,000. Every time you will change it, it will track all all the changes. Let's say if I want to make it from 10,000 to 15,000, I just hit save, then it will track that change as well. So it will always track that change in the field track history. So you can track up to 20 fields and object. So let's say maximum 20 field and object uh, at a time, right? And one more thing, guys, right now it is giving you the complete action information. So if your field size, your field data type size is less than 255 character, then only uh, it will capture the complete field change. Otherwise it will go only give you a description that this field is changed, right? It won't give you like from which amount to which amount, right? It will not give you a detailed description. It will only give you this particular field is changed by this user and on which time and date, right? But it won't give you the complete description from the previous or the next value if that data type size or the value size is greater than 255 character. So that's the point to be noted here. And it will, you can track maximum 20 fields per object here in the field tracking history. So this is the second thing. This is to track particular field changes on an object. So what you can do is you can simply go to an object, the custom object, check that, enable that field track history, and then go to the object here, right? And here you will get a button called set history tracking. If you will click on set history tracking, you will get all the fields in which you can track the history, and you can simply check that checkbox and save it, and you will get all the history here in the invoice history related list. So this is how you can do that. As we have only checked it for amount, it is only capturing the amount related changes, right? So this is how you can create for field history tracking. And the the third one is called audit trail, setup audit trail. Setup audit trail will give you information about all the changes in your organization. Let's say if somebody is changing anything, uh, that change you can track using the setup audit trail. So what you can do here is you can simply go to setup. Here you can in the quick find box called setup audit trail, view setup audit trail, and simply click on this view setup audit trail. Here you will get information about all the changes in your organization. You can see change invoice page layout in custom object, right? Change was done by this user. This is the time, right? Each and every change you will get here, and you can also download. So it will capture the changes for last 6 months, right? So last 6 month changes, you can simply download it. It will only show you some record here on this page, but you can download in the Excel sheet, right? Like just by clicking it here. So it will give you all last 6 month changes in your organization. So this is how you can simply do it. This is how you can simply check like who changed what. So setup audit trail is very useful here. So these are the three things we have in SFDC audit. Any question from anybody related to SFDC audit? Okay. Okay, guys. So now our next topic is the next section basically is business automation. So let me just open it. So now what is our next section of topics is business automation. So in automation part, we will discuss about workflow rules. We'll discuss about approval process. We'll discuss about web to lead. We'll discuss about assignment rules. We'll discuss about auto response rules. We'll discuss about what else is pending here. So we'll complete these things right in automation, in Salesforce automation, business automation. So let's just first discuss about what is a workflow rule, right? So guys, as you guys are aware, like if you are doing something, you generally get some automated email, right? That kind of stuff. Is if you are ordering something online, after submitting the order, you are getting an email that your order is submitted. This is the information of your related to your order, and these kind of emails you generally get. And sometimes your uh, order field is updated like in progress or anything, right? And these kind of stuff you generally have in this
Auto response.
in the business, right? So first of all, we'll discuss about workflow rule. So workflow rule generally gives you four kind of action, the four kind of automation, right? Update you can update a field on the object field automatically on object. You can create a task. You can create a task to any user, right? And you can send email to anybody, right? And you can send outbound messages, outbound messages to any third party application, right? So these are the four things you can do using workflow rules automatically. So let's say I'm just giving you a scenario, and that particular scenario will create, right? So let's say we have created an invoice object, and if invoice amount, so there are two things that we need to consider every time we generally create a workflow rule, and these two things are like rule criteria and the rule action. So first thing that we need to consider about rule criteria, and the second thing we need to consider about rule action, right? So first of all, we will discuss like on which criteria that particular rule will fire. So we'll discuss about the rule criteria. So let's say I just want to create a workflow rule on invoice object. So if invoice amount, if amount greater than 10,000, right? And this particular scenario we also have in our pharma project, right? So if amount greater than 2,000, then there should be a checkbox like um, you can say bulk invoice, or you can say uh, big account kind of thing. I'm saying as a big account, there is a checkbox that big account, and it should be true if by default if amount is greater than 2,000, right? And what all are the rule action you want to do? What all are the automated business operations you want to do if in this particular scenario? So first of all, what we want to do is we want to update a field. We need to update a field. Then the field related to is big account is equal to true. If amount greater than 10,000, then big account equals to true, and this will come under this update field automatically of an object, right? So I'm just giving a name as update field, and then I want to create a task to the user, to the sales rep, that you need to call create a task to user to sales rep to call the customer. To call the customer, right? This will come under task creation. And the third one we'll do is we'll send an email to user to user, and this will come under email send. We'll also create an outbound messages. We'll also create an outbound messages. Message will take an endpoint. Will take a dummy endpoint, right? So these things will create. So we'll create a workflow rule. If amount is greater than 10,000, then we'll need to do these rule actions, right? So let's just create a workflow rule. Let's just first create a field called big amount, right? So guys, there are two things in Salesforce. The one thing is the standard or admin activity, right? And the second one is we can write code. So always Salesforce always recommend if something can be done using a like point and click process or using related to any Salesforce business automation process, then you should prefer that one. You should not write code for anything that is possible using a point and click. So always consider workflow first, then you should go for code related things, right? If that is not possible using workflow. So right now we have that invoice object. Let's create one more field, one more checkbox field called big account here. And here you can select the checkbox. Next. Name I'm just giving as an big account, right? Making it unchecked by default. Next. Right here you can make it visible for all the profiles, and next, and save. I'm adding it to page layout as well. So we have created this big account field. So just create a workflow rule. So in order to create a workflow rule, you just need to go to quick find box or directly go to workflow. I'm just going here because it is the easiest way. So here just type work. So you can see or you can type just workflow. So you can see in the workflow and approval, there is a option called workflow rules. So you can simply select this workflow rule option. I will always recommend to read all these things, so it will be handy for you guys. As we don't have any workflow right now, so it is giving me a blank screen here. So you can simply click on new rule. And first thing for an workflow rule is you just need to select an object on which you want to create a workflow rule. So workflow rule generally work for a single object at a time. So you just need to select the object on which you want to create this automation process, right? So what is the object name here we have is called invoice. So you just need to go to invoice object. Here we go. Just simply hit next. Here rule name, so you can simply give a rule name here. Rule name can be anything, right? So I'm just checking, writing here is amount amount based. I'm just giving a name as amount based. Right now you can write some description based on uh, your business logic, whatever you want to write. And then we have another section called evaluation criteria. So basically this particular thing, evaluation criteria, will define like on which DML operation this particular workflow will be executed. So here you can see there are three options based with the radio button. So you can select a single option at a time, right? So here the first option is created, second option is created and every time it's edited, third one is created and anytime it's edited to subsequently meet criteria, right? So let's say if I will click here created, what does it mean? Like this particular workflow will run only once for a single record. Like at the time of record creation, this workflow will fire and it won't fire for any edit or anything, right? So if I will select created, then and any record will create in this object, this workflow will fire and it will only fire once as it will be on created, right? And the second option is created and every time it's edited. So now it is giving you information that if you will select this option, then this workflow will fire on created and as well as every time that particular record will be edited. So this workflow will be fire every time a record created or edited, right? Third one, created and anytime it's edited to subsequently meet criteria. So this is the important one, right? So just think what is written here. Created, so this particular workflow will fire created as well every time a record will create, and anytime it's edited to subsequently meet criteria. It means you are editing the record just to meet criteria. It means previously the criteria we are going to define here, the what is our criteria? Criteria is the amount should be greater than 10,000. So if the amount, if the criteria is not met earlier, like the amount was not 10 greater than 10,000, and you are just editing the record just to uh, meet that criteria, means that you are just editing amount field and making the amount is greater than 10,000, right? And then only this particular third option will be fire. Any question related to this third option or any option till now, guys, please ask. I will explain it in more detailed manner. Just let me know if you are, if you got all these three evaluation criteria meaning, or you need me to explain it more. Anyone?
Explain it more.
Not able to hear you guys.
Hello.
Explain it more.
Yeah.
हेलो
Yes, guys. Yeah, tell me.
प्रतीक भाई, ये पूछना था मुझे कि सेकंड वाला जो ऑप्शन है क्रिएटेड एंड एवरी टाइम इट्स एडिटेड, और
Right.
जो थर्ड ऑप्शन है क्राइटेरिया, बट ये पूछना था क्राइटेरिया तो वर्कफ्लो में तभी ऑल द टाइम होगा ना? वर्कफ्लो अगर हो रहा है तो
Yes,
क्राइटेरिया तो
yes.
होगा।
You can see here the criteria is a required field. So like if you will select this one, this particular option, then it won't check the criteria. Doesn't matter which field you are editing, the workflow will fire. Workflow will check the criteria and it will perform the action, right? But in the third option, it will check if at the time of edition, if you are editing the record, it will check that particular criteria. If that criteria is not met earlier and you are just editing the record to match that criteria, then only the workflow will fire. Otherwise it won't fire for any other field addition. Is it clear now?
ओके।
So moving ahead with the rule criteria. So what is our rule criteria? Our rule criteria is invoice amount should be greater than, right? Invoice amount should be greater than 10,000.
10,000.
I think we have just selected the wrong invoice object. Actually, we have selected the standard invoice object actually. Let me just go back and select the right object. I don't know which one is the standard here or which one is the not. So guys, I'm just checking here the third one because this is exactly meeting our criteria. So I'm just selecting here the invoice amount, and what is our requirement is invoice amount should greater than 10,000. This is our requirement, right? If you want to add more rule criteria, then you can add, and I'm just hitting save and next. So there are two part of workflow rule. The one is the rule criteria and the second one is the rule action, as we have already discussed. The first one is the rule criteria and the second one is the rule action. So rule criteria we have already created. What we have created is we have created a rule criteria amount should be greater than 10,000, and this particular rule, workflow rule, should be evaluated and when a record is edited and every time it's edited to subsequently meet criteria, right? Now there are two type of workflow actions: the immediate actions and the time dependent actions. Time dependent action will discuss after the immediate workflow action. So let's just hit this. So you can see here, you can have some options here. So there should be 4 options here: the new email alert, field update, new outbound messages, and you can also select any existing action. So let's say if you have created some actions previously and you want to reuse those actions, you can simply use some existing actions here as well. So but why we are getting only 3 options here? Basically, you need to go back on the invoice object and you need to do some more things. So I'm just going back to invoice object. Here in the invoice object section, just hit edit, because the 4th option was related to task creation. So you can see here there is a checkbox called allow activities. So if this particular checkbox is not checked, then you cannot perform activities on this particular object. So I'm just hitting allow activities here, right? So by just clicking allow activities and hit save, you will get that 4th option here in the workflow rule. So just refresh the screen, and here you should get that 4th option. You can see here the new task option is now available. So now you have four options. You can create a new task, you can send an email alert, you can update a field, you can create an outbound messages. So let's just update our field. So what we need to do here is we need to check that big account checkbox if amount is greater than 10,000. So I'm just giving name as a big account check. Name is can be based on your choice, so whatever name you want to give. So here I'm just selecting the big account field, and I'm just giving the value as untrue. Like if amount is greater than 10,000 rule, uh, if amount is greater than 10,000, then this particular checkbox is enabled. So guys, there is a checkbox called re-evaluate workflow rule after field change. So you can read here, if this field update changes the field value. So guys, there is a thing, right? Just give me a minute, guys. I'm just getting a call. So guys, this particular field is saying, like, let's say, so guys, just try to understand this. If I will check this, and then what will happen? This particular workflow will edit the record and will change the field value. So if you want to re-evaluate the workflow after a field change, after value change, then you have to, check this checkbox, right? That is written here. If this field update changes the field value, right? All workflow rules on this associated object are re-evaluated. Any workflow rule whose criteria are met as a result of the field update will be triggered, right? So let's say if you have another workflow, and in that workflow you have a criteria called if big amount is equal to checked, then you want to perform some kind of action. So if you will check this particular checkbox, then that particular field, that particular workflow will be re-evaluated and it will perform the action. So right now what we are doing here is the checkbox option, we are just making it true, and just hitting save here. So we have created one action, but we want to create 4 action. Let's just do one more. I'm just creating a one more task here. So tasks will be assigned to a user. So you can select the user to which you want to assign the task. As we have only 2 users here, so I'm just assigning it to myself. Subject can be anything, call the customer or anything you want to give. Due date till when you want to give a call to a particular user. So you can select like invoice created date plus 1 day. So let's say you need to call him in 48 hours, right? That's it. If you want to give some comment, you can give, you can, status is not yet started. If you want to make it priority, as the amount is greater than 10,000, so you can set as priority is equal to high. So it's up to you, right? Just hitting save. Now we have created two workflow actions, right? So now I'm just moving ahead and creating one more. Like next one is the email alert, right? So we just want to send an email alert at the time of this workflow, right? So you can give any description, like if you want to give, I'm just giving it a test, unique name as test, anything you want to give. So there is a thing called here called email template. So guys, we have some standard email templates created by Salesforce already, and there is some text written on these email templates, and you can use these standard email templates directly here. But you can also create email templates by your own. So we'll discuss all these email templates in forthcoming sessions. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm just selecting these are the standard email templates we have created by Salesforce. So I'm just selecting one email template created by Salesforce. Here's a new customer email. So you can select this particular email template directly. So right now recipient type, so there should be any recipient in order to send an email. So you can select here, right, to whom you want to send an email. So I'm just selecting my second user or anything, or you can add some extra, email IDs as well. And current user email address, from email address is current user email address, or if you want to make this address default for the other object email alert, so you can do that as well. So I'm just hitting save, right? So we have created email alert as well, and now you can send an outbound messages as well. As we don't have any third party, so we will use some dummy thing here in the outbound messages. Outbound messages means like if you just uh, created a contract between you and a third party application just to perform your big accounts, or just to some process your big accounts, right? So you just need to give him some information related to your big account to process further things, right? So I'm just giving name as an outbound messages, unique name, description if you want to give, or endpoint. I am just you can use any out any type of endpoint here. So the endpoint will be given by the third party application. So we are just using any dummy endpoint here. The user you can use like this, right? And you can here you can select the fields, the information you want to send to the third party application. So that will be depend on the business requirement. So I'm just selecting only 3 fields here. So right now I'm just hitting save. We'll discuss this outbound messages part when we will discuss about integration. So right now you can simply select all a dummy object, and we have created a outbound messages. So these type of these only fields you will get at the time of outbound message creation. So we have created all the 4 actions available using workflow, right? So I'm just hitting done here. Right now this workflow won't fire because it is not yet active, right? So you can see here this active is unchecked. So you have to activate this particular workflow, then only it will work, right? So you can get all the information here, like the rule criteria or evaluation criteria, all the action you want to perform, each and everything you will get here on this page, right? So you can simply hit this activate button, and this workflow will good to go. So I'm just hitting activate button. So now this particular workflow is activated. So now this will work every time a invoice will be created, or it's edited to meet subsequent criteria. So we'll discuss both the scenario. So let's just create an invoice, and we'll see that field or all the things will create it. So right now what I'm doing here is I'm just creating a new invoice. INV2 on making the amount greater than 10,000, right? I'm not checking this checkbox, so this will be remain unchecked. This should be checked based on the workflow action. So I'm just hitting save here. So you can see here the big account is checked now. Guys, just give me a minute. So guys, you can see here the big account checkbox is checked, right? So this was checked by workflow only automatically. We didn't do anything. But if amount is greater than 10,000, this particular checkbox will be checked. So let's create one more invoice, right? Just to check if it will work for less than 10,000. So I'm just giving name as INV3, right? And amount I'm just giving as 5,000. I'm not checking this checkbox and hitting save. So you can see the big account checkbox is not checked, not yet checked. So, basically it will only work if amount is greater than 10,000 because that was our rule criteria, right? Let's just log in with the second user and check if he is getting the task assigned to him. Let's just do that. Task thing you will get here only. So let's select just today or all open. Task is not created, so we'll see what is happening here. Let's check the workflow again. Workflow is firing because it is updating the account here, and we should also get that email. So we'll check the email thing as well, if you are getting the email or not in workflow. So let's just check the workflow thing, why the task is not happening. Let's go to the workflow again. Task assigned to Pratik Sharma. Actually, we were checking on the wrong user. Actually, we were assigned it to this user only, right? So let's go to home page and check if we are getting the task here. So let's just select all open. Yeah, yep. You can see here the task is assigned. It is not yet started. The date is, you can see here the date, right? So date was mentioned on that. Call the customer related to INV2 object, INV2 record, right? So you can see here all the information. The task is created, and at the same time you will get that email as well, right? So this is how you can create a workflow. Any question from anybody till now, guys, related to immediate workflow? Any question?
Clear.
Himanshi, any question? Okay. Harshit, anybody? So what we did here is like we have created a business process, right? So if amount is greater than 10,000, then what we can do is we can perform 4 action immediately, automatically using a workflow. Is we can send an email, we can create a task, right? And we can also update a field here, right? So this thing you can do. You can also update a field on cross object. So if you have a master detail relationship between two objects, you can also update a field on the master record. So let's just create a time-based workflow. So for time-based workflow, what you need to do is you need to deactivate. You can't create a time-based workflow on activated. Let me just close all these things. So as you can see here, this particular workflow is activated. So you cannot add a new time trigger to an active rule. So you have to deactivate this rule. So there is a link called CN example. So you can simply click what is an time dependent rule. So you can see here by using the immediate rule. Let me just zoom it. So by using the immediate rule actions, you can perform all these for options for time dependent workflow rule. Right now, what is happening at the time of record creation, this particular workflow rule is, executing immediately, and it is performing the action immediately. But if you don't want to perform all the action immediately, you can choose a time dependent workflow. You have all these options, right? You can select, like, if you want to execute this before opportunity close date, or 7 days before opportunity close date. You have some more options here in time dependent workflow. Before going to time dependent workflow, one more thing I want to show you guys, right? So let's say uh, I'm editing this record, the invoice record. The third option what we have discussed about is like every time a record is created and every time it's added to meet subsequent criteria. So what we did here in invoice to object, invoice to record, the criteria was is amount 15,000, greater than 15,000. So let me just edit this record, and I'm just making this uncheck. And what should happen if amount is greater than 15,000? This particular big account checkbox should checked again, because the workflow will fire and it will check this big account checkbox. Am I right or wrong, guys? Guys, what I have just said is correct or not?
True.
Right? Let me just save it. But you can see here, this particular checkbox is not checked. Why it is? Can anybody explain why it is not checked?
Because we have deactivated the workflow.
No, workflow is still activated. Workflow is still activated. Guys, think.
The workflow will work on a new invoice when we enter, like this we have edited, I guess.
Yes, but we have selected the created, and every time it's added to subsequently meet criteria. So guys, see here, the criteria was met earlier. So what I told you guys, if the criteria is not met and you are just editing the record to meet the criteria, then only your workflow will fire on editing, right? So criteria was meet already. You were not editing the record to meet the criteria. You were just editing the record to make addition on another field. So what we did is we have added the big account to unchecked, but our criteria was met earlier. Criteria is met now as well. So we are not making any changes on criteria. That is why the third option is working, right? So you can see here the big amount checkbox is not checked. Even if you will edit this record 100 times, right, it will remain same. It won't be checked, right? But if you will see here, if you will edit this and make it 5,000, let me just edit it. If I'm making it 5,000, then what will happen? Who will tell?
Big account will still uncheck.
Why?
Because it's not meeting the criteria.
Absolutely correct. Because right now the amount is 5,000, and what is our criteria? It is greater than 10,000. So it will remain unchecked. You can see here. Right now, guys, see, our criteria is not met. I'm editing the record to meet the criteria. I'm making it 12,000, let's say. I'm just editing this particular record to meet the criteria. This was not met earlier. Editing the record to meet the criteria, hitting save. See this. Because criteria was not met earlier, I'm editing the record just to meet the criteria. So this is the thing that you can see in the third option, right? If we are editing the record just to meet subsequent criteria, right? So the criteria was not met earlier. We are just editing the record to meet the criteria. We have another record is called INV3. In INV3 as well, you can see criteria big account is not checked, criteria is not met as well. So if I'm editing the record and making it 15,000, it means I'm just meeting the criteria. Whatever criteria is defined in the workflow rule, I'm just meeting that criteria. And if I will hit save, then you can see the big account checkbox is checked now. Is it clear now, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? So let's just go for that time dependent workflow. There are something that I want to tell you on that. So let's go to workflow. Here in Quick Find box, you can simply type workflow. We have this workflow. It is still activate. So now we can deactivate it because we can't add time dependent actions on a activated. So now you can add it here. You can simply, no workflow action have been added. You must have at least one time trigger defined. Yes, we'll do that. Let's just edit it, add time trigger. So like you can simply define the time, right? So you can see here the invoice created date, last modified date, rule trigger date. So let's say I just want to trigger this after 3 days of rule trigger. So when rule will trigger at the time of record creation and addition. So we just want to do the action after the 3 days, right? So you can just simply save it. We have created this, and what kind of action you want to perform. So let me just do the field update here. So I'm just making it test because we can't, anyways, you can't check it right now. So I'm just making it field update, making it true, save, right? Same thing we did with the immediate field update, right? Same thing I did with this time trigger. So let's just do it. We can do one more thing, right? We can update, we can remove that field update from here. We'll do it with this thing. So we have removed it, and we just want to update the field after the 3 days of rule trigger date, right? So now just activate this workflow again to run. Without activate, it won't run. So this is the organization by default. So I'm making it Pratik. So we'll explain what is it in forthcoming sessions. So yeah, you have just activated it, and now just create an invoice record to check this. So just creating an invoice record, INV4, making it 12,000, not checking it, save. So you can see it is still not checked because we didn't, we have removed it from the immediate action. So it will be checked automatically after the 3 days. So next Saturday you will, and if you, after 3 days, you will check that big amount will be checked, right? But how will you get to know like that future workflow, the time dependent workflow will fire or not, right? So in order to check that, you can simply go to setup. Here in the quick find box, just type time dependent, right? Time based workflow. In monitor, you will get the time based workflow. Here you can search your workflow. So based on the object, the simple search is based on the object. So let's use invoice. You can see here the workflow was fired. Record name was INV4, object was invoice, workflow rule is amount related, schedule, everything is. Next schedule date is this, right? 12. So it will be fired on 12th, right? 12th of May 2020. The time will remain this, right? and the created by this and created date is. So guys, I have one question, right? I don't know if you guys will be able to answer. So what we did is we have created this, right? So this workflow action will be fire after 3 days. So what will happen if we will change or we will delete the amount field, or we will do any change in the rule, in the workflow rule, or we will deactivate the rule? What will happen in the meantime? So let's say if I will deactivate the workflow rule right now, this workflow rule, if I will deactivate it, what will happen with the time-based workflow? Just want to check your logic here. What should happen actually? Just tell me what is your thought on it?
It should be automatically demolished.
Okay. Anybody else?
It will like the action will be performed after 3 days, according to me, because the invoice has been created and the action has been performed, or you can say it has been applied to it for after 3 days.
Absolutely correct. Actually, action is now workflow has no control over this particular action. So now it is in the time-based workflow queue, right? So it is here. So the workflow has no control over this particular action. So it will perform. It doesn't matter what will happen with a record, what will happen with the workflow, what will, if you are changing anything related to a workflow object or anything, right? But this particular action will be called till the time you will select this workflow, this particular record from here and delete it from this queue. If you will delete it from this queue, right, then this particular workflow will automatically diffuse. This particular action will not perform if you will delete it from here. Okay, guys. So like if you want to delete all the future actions, if you are changing anything in workflow, and if you want to delete all the future actions to be performed, then you have to come here in monitor section. In time-based workflow, you have to search the object or workflow. You have all other option with the name of workflow, schedule date, created by, user ID, record name. So you can always have all these column to search, right? And you can simply delete these record from this queue, and what will happen, these record will not be executed, this action will not be executed, right? This is what we have related to workflow. Any question from anybody will be appreciated. Any question? Harshit, if you have any question, you can ask related to workflow.
Okay. So right now I don't have any question.
Okay, cool. Sneha, Imanshi, anything, any related scenario or anything you want to discuss related to workflow? Aman, Kanshi, any Bina, anybody, right? Just ask. It is a very important topic, right? So just ask. Although we have an enhanced version of workflow, we'll discuss that in forthcoming sessions called Process Builder. But again, workflow is also useful, and we have a lot of workflows in the organizations. So you will have to work on it. So you should be aware about its functionality. So if any question, you can ask, or we can move ahead to another topic called approval process.
We can move ahead. Pratik.
Okay, cool. So now we have another topic called approval process. So what is an approval process, guys? What do you think based on the name?
So approval process is something like, for example, like any kind of
Like you
or
have
add
yeah,
any field or on the form, an approval will be triggered to some
absolutely
group.
correct.
Yeah.
like you have like your leave approval policies in your organization. So what you generally do is you generally apply that leave in the system and generally goes to your manager, or if you have multiple approvers, then it will go to the second one. Same times, you, let's say you have a deal kind of thing, and if you want to approve that deal, then you have to raise a approval request, and then that approval request will go to the approver. And if you have multiple approver, then it will go one by one based on some condition. So same thing, if you have, so let's say if you will check in the project document, the pharma company project document, there is a option thing, amount is greater than, invoice amount is greater than 10,000, then it should give the 20% discount, but it should be based on the manager approval. So if you guys are aware, you can recheck the thing, recheck the document. And right now, what same thing we will create here in the invoice object. If amount is greater than 10,000, then the record should go for approval, right? So approval process you can create object wise here in Salesforce. So you can simply type approval process here. You can see here the approval process option is available here. So you can see here, you can select the object in which you want to create the approval. So let's say invoice, I have selected invoice, but there is no active approval process available here. So, and no inactive, because we have not created any approval process for invoice. So we are not able to find any record here. So but if you want to do that, you can simply select create new approval process. In the drop down, you will get two options: use Jumpstart Wizard and use Standard Setup Wizard. There is no difference based on the functionality and based on the approval process. It is these are the two ways to create an approval process, right? So first we will discuss about the Standard Setup Wizard, because Jumpstart Wizard is basically you will get all the options on a single page, and just use Standard Setup Wizard is will give you then will get, you have to give all the information step by step with the wizard kind of thing, right? So I'm just selecting Standard Setup Wizard. This is the lengthy one. So first in the first step, the step one, it is asking for enter name and description. So it is asking for like the name of the approval process. Name is for your choice or your organization choice. So you can simply give invoice name. I'm just giving invoice approval, right? Name can be anything. If you want to give some description, like what is it all about, so you can write some lines here in the description and hit next. Now our step 2 is specify entry criteria. So what you can do here is you can specify like all the rules criteria. So what we have is, if the invoice, what is our criteria is, if invoice amount is greater than 10,000, then only that particular record should go for approval. So here what we need to do is we need to select the invoice amount. I think we have selected the wrong object here. Let me just go back and change the object. We just did the mistake, right? We should change the name. Giving test. Name can be anything, right? Okay. So now if amount is greater than 10,000, this is our criteria, right? If amount is greater than 10,000, then, and there is no required field here. If you want to skip, if you want all record to be go under approval, so you can leave this field as in blank as well. Next. So guys, there is a thing here. You can see here, like you can add multiple criterias, like multiple combination of criteria. And you can see here and, right? So what is the meaning of and? If you will add multiple criterias, then all the criteria should be true, then only it will go next. But if you want like or in between, then you can add a filter logic here. One, like if I want to add 1 and 2 or 3. So what does it mean? So if you will add the logic here, then 1 and 2 should be true, but either 1 and 2 should be true, or the 3 1 is true. So you can just make it like this, 1 and 2 or 3. So you can make 1 and 2 in brackets so that it will maintain the precision. So I'm just making it 1 and 2 and or 3. So either 1 and 2 will be true or 3 will be true. So you can add the logic here as well, based on whatever the logic you have. Okay.
Yes.
Now we have make it, we can, we have only one criteria, right? 10,000, right? So invoice amount greater than 10,000, and then next, the third step is specify approver field and record editability properties, right? So now it is asking like select field used for automated approval routing. So you can, guys, if you are remember, we have discussed about hierarchical relationship. So hierarchical relationship was created on a user object only, and you can choose another user as a manager, TL, or whatever you want, just to assign to a new user or any existing user. So the same field you can use here for automated approval routing here. So you can select here, you can see create a new hierarchical relationship field. In this org we don't have any hierarchical relationship field, but you can do that, you can create that. There is a default hierarchical relationship field is called manager. So you can select it, or you can have more options as well, more approval steps. So we can select a manager here. So now it is asking for record editability properties. So there is a default behavior in Salesforce is like if you are submitting a record for approval, then it will automatically logged for editing. But as an administrator, right, you can edit the record. So you can see here administrator only can edit record during the approval process. Administrator or currently assigned approver can edit the record during the approval process. So it is based on like what you want to do, right? So I'm just hitting next. Now it is asking approval assignment email template. It is same, so you can select any, like if you are assigning a record for approval, then the approver should get an email to get information what he should approve, and with all the details of the record. So you can select an email template. As I already explained that we have some email templates created by Salesforce, and you can also do that by your own, as there are a lot of changes in Salesforce Lightning UI related to email templates. So I'm not covering this topic right now. We'll cover it in Lightning section. So I'm just selecting some standard email template created by Salesforce. So here, we have selected standard one. I'm just hitting next. We have already completed 4 steps here. So I'm just selecting next here. Now it is asking select field to display on approval page layout, right? So when a record will be submitted for approval, then the approver will get these field on the information page, right? So invoice name, owner, I'm just adding amount, and big account. So these 4 particular field will be available on the page layout related list, right? So you can click here to view the example, right? You can see here, so these are the field, right? Assigned to actual approval, these are the fields, or you can see these are the fields are approval available here on this page layout, right? Okay, so you can select the example. So we have added these 4 fields on the approval page. Approval page field display approval history information in addition to the field. Yes, we want to display approval history. So if this record was approved or rejected earlier, it will also give you the history related to that as well. Security settings allow approver to access the approval page only from within the Salesforce application or a third party mobile device as well. So the recommended one is it should only be accessible with the Salesforce application, but you can also give a permission to access it using an externally from a wireless enabled mobile device, right? So I'm just making the first one a check because it is recommended, and you can hit next. In the next one, step 6 is specify initial submitter. So who is the initial submitter? So we are just making it as a record owner, right? So record owner can be the initial submitter. Record owner can only be submit the record for approval. You can change it. You have a lot of other options: public group, role and subordinate user, whatever you want to select, you can select it from here. So I'm just making it invoice owner. So right now invoice owner or record owner can only submit the record. Page layout setting, we have already added the submit for approval button. You will get the submit for approval button on the page layout itself. Submit, allow submitter to recall the approval request. So if submitter wants to recall the approval request, then if you will select this checkbox, so he or she will be able to recall the approval request. So I'm not making it recall, so making and leaving it unchecked and just hitting save. So what we did is we have created the approval process. So if you want to create some approval steps, so you can go it from now, but I want to, let's say I will do this later. Take me back to the listing of approval process, right? So just hit go. So now we are here on this screen, like from where we have started, right? So here you can see we have inactive approval process is called test. We have given name as text. No active approval process because we have not yet activated it, right? So right now you can simply click here and you will get all the information related to this. As active checkbox is unchecked, so it means that this particular approval process is not yet checked. You can see the entry criteria, invoice amount greater than 10,000, and you can see here the record editability, administrator only, approval assignment, email template, initial submitter. You will get all the information. Allow submitter to recall the approval request is unchecked. So these are who will next automated approval determined by manager of the record submitter, right? So these are the things that you will get. We have not yet created any approval steps, so it is basically blank. So let's just discuss. The first thing is the initial submission action. So what will happen if you are submitting the record for any approval? So a record will be logged. So it is a default process, so you won't get any button to edit or delete it, right? The record will automatically lock if you are submitting a record for approval. So guys, there is one more thing is, so you can also call a workflow actions directly from the approval process. So if you will select, if you want to send an email or any task, or if you want to update a field at the time of a record to submit in the approval, right? So you can also do it from here. So you will get all the 4 actions, right, directly from here. So let's just make it more dynamic. Let's just create one more field here in the invoice object, a pick list field, and we will update that particular field value based on the rejection or approval or submitted or whatever the thing you want to do. So I'm just creating one more field is called approval status. Create one more field. So it will give you the status about your approval process. So we'll update it. So making it as an pick list. Approval status. Guys, this option, so you can also create some global values for pick list. So by this particular option, you have to give values every time. But if you want to use same values for different object pick list or different pick list fields, so you can create a global pick list value set, and you can use that value set directly in any pick list without giving all the values separately. So you can use that. So right now what we are doing is we are entering the value here. So let's say submitted for approval. For approval, second is approved, rejected. So we'll update this particular field. What else you can add here? Recalled we haven't selected recalled option. That's it. So let's just use these 4 values initially, right? So let's just add some initial submission action. So add new. So what will happen if a record is submitted? So record lock is already there. Let's add update status. right? And you can get that field. What was that field is approval status, and we'll select a specific value as submitted for approval, right? So I'm just hitting save. So for this, what we is record will initial submission action will record will logged and a particular field will update the update status. Next one is let's select some approval steps. So new approval steps, step one, I'm just naming as step one. Next. So if you have different approvers or anything that you can met, all records should enter this step and enter this step if the following. So guys, you can also have a option to automatically skip this particular approver or anything. So let's say if you want to skip this approver on a particular criteria, then you can directly reject record or approve record from. So let's say if somebody if the amount is greater than 10,000, then this particular record not go for this approver, it will automatically approve directly. So this approver don't have to go manually and approve the record. So system will automatically skip this particular step, and the record will be shown as an approved for this particular user, for this particular approver. But I just want to go for all the records. So you can simply select all records. So it will go in each and every step to just approve or reject. Oh, let me just. Next. Now it is asking for approver, like this is step approver. The first option is let the submitter choose the approver manually. So it will be based like at the time of submitting that record to approve, the user will select the approver manually, like uh, from the user list. It will automatically select. It will select by the user manually. Sorry. So the user will manually select. And if you will select the second one, then it will automatically select the assigned user earlier, the manager. We have already select the manager. So if you will select this option, it will go to the manager that is defined in the hierarchical relationship field on the user detail page. And if you will select the third one, automatically assigned to a queue. So we have already discussed what is a queue. So if you want to assign this record to a queue for approval, all the queue member will can approve that, and you can choose a queue name here and you can approve that, right? And the last one is automatically assigned to approver. So if you will select the fourth one, so you can select. So let's say I'm just giving an example. So let's say there is a team of manager 1 2 3 4 5. There are 5 manager in the team, and any of these 5 manager can approve the record, right? Or need to approve the record. All of the 5 manager have the right to approve the record. Then you can create 5 rows here, 5 users here, and all these 5 users can approve the record. And like if you are adding the multiple user here, then you have two options: approve or reject based on the first response. So it will be on the first come first basis. So if any one of them will be rejected or approved it, if you will select this particular radio button, if any of one from all of them will be approved or reject this record, then this particular record will be approved or reject based on his or her response. But if you will select the second one, then it will require unanimous approval from all selected approvers. So then all the users you will select here has to approve that record, then only that particular record should be considered as an approved, right? So this is how you can do this. So I'm just selecting a user here. So let's say I want to give this to myself, because we don't have many user, or we can do this to another user. Let's just do it to myself here, or we can assign it to another user, but we need to change this his or her profile, as this is a custom object. Let's just do this to another user. We'll change the profile. So I'm just selecting second user as an approver for this record and making it save. Right? Yes. I don't want to create one more. So no, I will do this later. Right now you can see here. So if you have multiple approval step as well, then you can also add an actions here. So let's say if this particular user will approve, then what you want to do. If this particular user will reject, then what you want to do. So you can also add some actions for based on this particular user as well. And final approval action, this particular action will only call when our record is finally approved, right? So you record is logged. So if you want to make it logged for future as well, then you can leave it like this only. But if you don't want to make it logged or remain it logged, then you have the option to unlock the record, right? So it is up to you and up to your business process what you want to do. And we have a thing to update the field. If the record is approved, then what we need to do is we need to update this approval status and make it as an approved, right? Save it. So what we did is we have created one final approval action, and same thing if you want to make it a final rejection action, then you can add this here as well. So field update and update field, I'm giving the same name. It is rejected, so I'm updating it as an rejected. And same for recall as well. So if a user has the ability to recall it, then he can update as an recalled. So we have unique name is already there, right? So what we did is we have added some actions right here. So I think we are done. So if you want to make more approvals, so you can add some more steps as well. Let's add one more steps just to give you a detail what will happen. Test 2, I'm just making it name as test 2. This is step number 2. Next, and all records should go in this criteria. It will ask the same thing, and now I'm again using the same user, right? Or I'm using my name here as a second step, right? And require all unanimous approval from all the selects. So in the last thing we have checked the first one, so we need to change that as well. So let's edit this one. Next. Just select the require unanimous approval, right? Just save it. So that's it. So we have created this approval process, and now we need to activate it to just check. So I have activated it. So this particular approval process is now activated. So let's just change the profile of this user, right? The second user profile, and give the access of invoice object so he can check the records. So let me just go to user. In the user here, what is our second user profile? It is manager. So let's just edit this profile and give the object level access. Here you can see there is no access. That's why I want to give it, right? Just give the access and save it. So this particular user have the access. So let's just submit the record for approval. So let's go to invoice and create a new invoice. You can do with the existing as well, but I'm just creating a new invoice. Amount I'm giving as 15,000 because we have created a criteria that amount should be greater than 10,000. And the same thing, I'm not selecting anything in approval status pick list, and in the big account will remain unchecked as we have removed that action. So now approval status will be none at the time of creation. So it should be updated based on the record approval, right? So I'm just hitting save. So you can see here I have created this record, but this record is not yet submitted for approval. That is why approval status pick list should not be updated right now. I'm submitting this particular record for approval. So we have this button because we have enabled it at the time of approval process creation. So right now I'm submitting it. So I have submitted this particular record, and you can see the approval status pick list is updated with submitted for approval, right? So you can see here, right? So these two steps we have for approval. One step, the second user should be, approve this. The step one, second user should approve this record. So right now, let's go back with this user, and in home section, items to approve, and you can also get this information on a particular record as well. But in the home page, we have added this in the home page layout. We have discussed it, right? So invoice 6 is now you have option either approve it, reassign it, or reject it. So you can do it based on your thing. So I'm just clicking on this, and it will take you on the page. So we have selected these 4 fields to be visible on the page layout, on the invoice request page layout. So these 4 fields are visible now. So let's just approve it first. This is approved. So you can add a comment. This is approved, and I'm just hitting the approved thing here, right? So I have just approved it. Go back on this record, just refresh this thing, and you can see there the step 1 was approved, and it was approved from this second user. But there is one more step, and this step is for me only. So that is why I'm a system administrator, so I'm getting these all 3 options. If you are not a system administrator, you won't get the record submitter won't get these options, right? Only record approver will get all these options, right? So you can see here this is now pending, and the approval status is not yet changed because this particular record is not yet approved. We have selected the unanimous, right, thing. So every user should have selected as an approved, then only it will go. So I'm just approving it from here only, and making it approved. We have just approved this, and that is why the status is now approved. And you can see both the options are the overall status is now as selected as an approved. So this is how you can update a field. You can create steps. You can create an approval process using a standard setup wizard, right? In same way, so if you want to do it with the Jumpstart wizard, you can simply go to approval process. Or here you can select, let's say if I want to select another object called, let's say opportunity. We don't have anything in opportunity. This time I will select that Jumpstart wizard. So you can see here all the options you are getting in a single page. Options are same. It is asking for name, it is asking for criteria, it is asking for approver. That's it. After saving this, it will again ask you for all the uh, actions, right? So let's just give OPP approval, right? If you want to give any assignment team template or anything, now it is asking for criteria. Let's say I don't want to give any criteria, or this should go to manager as we have selected earlier as well. And let's save it. So this is the Jumpstart wizard. So you will get all the information in a single page, and now you will be on this screen only. So you can create steps, you can create initial submission actions, anything. So the process is same, but the way to create this process is different. So there are 2 options: standard wizard, Jumpstart wizard. Jumpstart wizard will get you will get all the option on a single page. Standard wizard will take you step by step. So this is how you can create any approval process in Salesforce. And yep, you have all the information now. Any question from anybody? Any question, guys?
Pratik, I actually lost my internet connection in between, so
Okay.
if you could repeat.
Oh, okay. So, Sneha, you need to watch the video because
Okay, that's
because we have a lot of things here, so we can't, go back
yeah,
and
that's
yeah.
fine.
Okay. So
Yeah,
just watch the video. If you will have any question, na, just ask me
yeah,
on WhatsApp
yeah.
or you can call me. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Any question from anybody, guys? Guys, these are the things that you will get in interview, right? So please ask if you have anything related to these topics in your mind. So you can ask anything.
Pratik,
Sir,
okay.
okay. Sir, if we select a queue as a approval,
Okay. Then the
so
every process will go like a queue, right? So you have queue members, right?
hmm,
So queue members can access the record and will get as an approver.
so then in this scenario we need approval for all queue members or only one of the queue members?
So that is up to you. If you are selecting step one, so it will work as like first come first basis. Somebody will approve because
Hmm,
again, queue member has to get the record and make himself as an approver.
okay,
And every record will have only one approver at that time.
okay,
Q is for what? Q is just a collection of records, a collection of related type of data, and it is watchable with different set of users, right? And
hmm,
they can what they can do is they can change the ownership. So right now, if you are assigning something as an approval,
hmm,
right, then what they will do, they will make them as an approver and they will reject or approve the record, right?
right. But queue is we are using queue for the assignment. So that means for the
Yes,
queue record will be assigned one of the queue member.
correct. It will not
So
automatically assign. It
okay.
will it will be watchable, right? So queue member do that thing manually. So let's say you are the approver, you are the queue member, I am the queue member. I
Hmm,
don't have bandwidth, right? So
hmm,
we both are watching. So let's say you are the approver for account, I am the approver for opportunity, right? So
hmm.
all approval opportunity related record, I will make myself as an approver, and for account related record you will make yourself as an approver, and
Okay.
based on that just do it practically, and if you will have any question let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody else was asking something. Aman, Nitin, is that you?
Yes, Pratik. So I was just thinking like if we have submitted any request for approval, so can we set a time like if that has not been answered like within 15 minutes? So